Hey everybody, my name is Trudy, One Grounded Angel. This is a weekly angel card reading video for the week starting Monday the 27th of July through to August the 2nd, 2020. And we'll start shuffling the cards and see what's going to come up for us this week. And hopefully we'll get some great guidance to help us navigate whatever... Okay, maybe that card deck wasn't right because it just went everywhere out of my hands. Hopefully I'll choose a card deck that actually resonates and we can get some great guidance to help us navigate, make good choices, and to really get clarity on where we're getting stuck so we can move forward. Oh, I love this. Monday's card is singing and dancing. So it's about joy, really, doing things that bring us joy. When we're doing things like singing and dancing, we're really in the moment. We're letting our body guide us. We're letting the words calm, whatever it is. So it's really good for calming, settling your energy, and just for getting you into the moment instead of being all up here jammed in whatever's going on in your life. So really making joy a priority. Now, if those activities are not your jam, that's totally okay. Finding something that is bringing you joy, that is putting you in the moment, and making you be present. So that might be art. It might be, it could be anything really. It could be being in nature, just thinking about what am I neglecting that really makes me come alive, and what am I making excuses not to do? I'm too busy, or I look silly doing that, and really not getting attached to those. Tuesday's card is healing the past. I feel we've had this before. So I've probably explained this many times, but for the benefit of those who are new or those who need a new reminder, I know I always need reminders. Healing the past is important because even though we're not going backwards, we are moving forward. We need to clear whatever is behind us so that we do have more, we can get greater momentum in moving forward, because we can tend to get stuck, go around in circles when we haven't really dealt with what has happened in the past. Even though you might think, oh, I'm over it now, I barely think about whatever it was that happened. You can find that it is influencing your behaviours in certain ways. If you've gone through, for example, some sort of traumatic event, it might be stopping you from really showing up in your relationships. From maybe you've got your guards up constantly in relationships instead of being vulnerable. Not that being vulnerable is always an easy thing for anyone to do, regardless of our backgrounds. Maybe you are trying to protect yourself in some way that is, in fact, detrimental to your development. Maybe there's an opportunity coming up for you, and because you have experienced some sort of failure before that has really stayed with you on an energetic level, maybe that's stopping you from stepping forward in the way you need to. So really thinking about what might be going on in the past that's showing up for you now. Maybe you can look for patterns. Is there the problem that you're dealing with right now, for example, is there a way you're responding that reminds you of the ways you've responded in different ways before? Is it triggering you in the same way? Is the person, if there's a conflict situation, is that person reminding you of someone? Maybe the boss you're dealing with who's being difficult is very much like your parent who was also very critical or very demanding or controlling. So thinking about those things. Now, the second part of that equation obviously is to actually do the healing. It's not just the awareness, although that is really an important part of it, because it brings through that self-awareness that can help us. And the next part is seeking out the healing. Now, as you probably know, I am an energy healer, so of course I'm going to be a massive advocate for energy healing. It is so transformative. But you don't have to do that. Maybe you will go and see a psychologist or a therapist. Maybe you will go and see a shaman. I don't know what it is. Maybe you will do a creative art therapy type of session or something like that. Whatever it is that will help you, do it. But please don't just hope it will go away, because it doesn't. It just doesn't. And we're here. Our souls came here to grow and to learn through things, and that means being willing to move through these sorts of blocks that come up. And there's a good chance that some of the things that have happened to you before in other past lifetimes. Maybe this is the lifetime that you finally deal with it once and for all, so you don't have to deal with it ever again. Okay, Wednesday we've got commitment. So there's two key ways to look at this. The first is to zero in on that beautiful heart here and see this as a love commitment. So I think it was a couple of weeks ago we had a lot of messages around romantic commitments, people moving into greater levels of intimacy or commitment in their relationships, or bringing through that, maybe the potential for that to happen. So you might take this as an opportunity to work on your relationship, maybe work at what might be not flowing as well as it could be in your relationship, looking at, are we both on the same page? Do we both still want the same things? Do we need to come back together and actually talk about what are our goals? What are we working towards? Are we honouring the vows that we made or the promises that we made? And really thinking about how you can come more into alignment with that. Secondly, because we were just talking about healing the past in order to move forward, this might be about committing to your goals or committing to your healing, committing to your growth, committing to yourself. That in itself can be a really difficult thing for some people to do because they've had so many experiences where they've always put themselves last, or maybe they grew up in households where there was another sibling who got all the attention and they didn't, so they learned that their needs come secondary to everyone else's. Or maybe they grew up in a house where they were taught that they weren't allowed to show emotion, so anytime they deal with emotion they feel like they've got to put on an act and hide it. And so maybe the idea of actually nurturing themselves is going to be really triggering. There can be all sorts of things going on with this stuff. I'm certainly not trying to force ideas upon you. I'm just giving you some examples of some of the things that I see in my work. So really, what's getting in the way of you committing to your own growth, to your own development, to your goals, and working through those? And if it's a goal, looking at what might be going on underneath in those blocks. For example, if the problem is procrastination is fear in disguise. So what is it you're afraid of here? Are you afraid of failing? Are you afraid of succeeding? And what consequences you might perceive as being associated with that? So really thinking about that. Now here we have Thursday's card, Wise Soul, and to my knowledge, this hasn't come up in a in a weekly reading before. So yeah, I'm really surprised to see it. It is about the past again. So here we go again with that past stuff. I'll read it to you. Your soul carries ancient wisdom. Now people often say, oh, I'm an old soul, or my child's an old soul. We're actually all old souls. So it isn't, no one's, got no one's got I guess, a claim to fame in that sense. And not that you're not special, but it's just that we all do. It's just that a lot of people walking this earth have no knowledge of that. You do, which is fantastic. If you know you've had a big, past life experience, even if you don't know what that is, and I don't know a great deal of detail about my past life experiences because I don't feel I need to. I just need to know what it is that needs to be healed as a result of them. So maybe you might be looking at, do I need to go to have some past life regression work done with a qualified therapist around that, which is definitely, that can be incredibly rewarding and helpful. Or do I need to look at what it is that I'm actually here to do? Because if I have this knowledge that I've been here before many times, then maybe I also can make a commitment to actually work on what it is my soul came here to do. And of course, there are very general things that our souls have come here to do in terms of learning and growth, but each of us has a couple of different things. Maybe some of us have quite a few specific things to them. For example, the work I'm doing with you guys right now is specifically part of my life purpose. It's not the only part of it, but it is a big part of it. So really thinking about maybe stepping into that life purpose could be part of this knowledge for you. Equally, you could look at, if you're feeling called to become a healer, or you feel like you're a light worker, maybe you look at, how can I go about doing that and committing to it? So here we have Fridays. Yeah, I would say at its simplest level, that card is about learning from the past. And even if you don't feel called to understand past lives, it just doesn't really resonate for you, look at your own past that you have had in this body, in this lifetime. Things from the past, again, very similar to Tuesday's message, that need to be healed from. And we've all had really difficult experiences because unfortunately that's the only way we learn. So, but the key is to actually do the learning part. Otherwise they just end up being a bit of a burden for us. So Friday's card here is comfort. This is a beautiful, reassuring card for anybody who is struggling at the moment, who feels alone, isolated, feels like they're doing life wrong, and just needs a bit of healing and reassurance from heaven. There isn't a great deal to say with this card, to be perfectly honest with you, but it's lovely. It's so lovely because its simplicity is actually quite endearing in a way, because really all you need to know is that you were loved. You're loved, you're protected, you're safe. All those beautiful messages from the divine letting you know just trying to encourage you to sit in that knowledge instead of letting these fear-based energies that are yabbering away up here, sort of the ego energies, I mean, not actual fear-based energies that you've picked up from elsewhere, but the ego-driven kind of noise of you're not safe, you're going to screw this up, all that sort of nonsense. Just tuning down the volume on that, and just sitting in this knowledge that you're safe and that you're loved and that you're going to be okay. Ooh, big card, Saturday. That was a bit of a tease. You saw my face get excited, but you didn't actually see the card. Romance. Again, a card that doesn't come up in this particular card deck very often. So the romance message here is going to really depend on your life circumstances, your life stage, and what's been going on for you of late. So I would like to draw these two together, because in the work that I do, so much of what helps people attract a relationship is this stuff here, healing from the past. Now, that doesn't mean getting to a point where you don't think about the past at all. It just means making sure the burden of what happened, or the unhelpful limiting beliefs you might have taken on as a result of your past experiences are not adversely affecting what you attract right here in your love life. Relationships are a huge part of our development on this planet. We mirror people who reflect our own stuff. We attract people, who mirror our own stuff. For example, if we are people who struggle with low self-worth, we can be vulnerable to narcissists, that sort of thing. So we really need to work on developing ourselves to get ourselves into the best space to attract the high caliber partners who can walk alongside us rather than overshadowing us and leaving us stagnant. If you're in a relationship already, I think maybe what I talked about before with that commitment card would really come up here again, bringing back some romance, making sure things are not all just about the kids and about work and the house at the moment. I know those things are important. I'm not saying they're not important. I'm just saying make sure they're not the only tenor of conversation that you are having, that your conversations are not just functional or an exchange of information in a way. They're actually, you're having conversations that are bringing through intimacy as well. You're sharing what's actually bothering you, how you're actually feeling, and not trying to hide it to under the guise of I don't want to burden them. You really need to be opening up and being authentic and looking at what might be stopping you from doing that, and doing lovely things for each other. It doesn't matter how long you've been together. Everybody needs to hear a thank you and that they're appreciated and valued, and hear compliments from time to time. So if you're wanting to attract a new partner, as I said, that stuff around dealing with the past is really important. Developing your relationship with yourself. I personally don't advocate self-love. I think self-love is a really hard thing to do when you've struggled with having a healthy relationship with yourself. Instead, I talk more about laying down your weapons that you are holding against yourself, and instead being more at peace, self-acceptance, self-compassion, that sort of thing, rather than self-love. That's just me. Of course, you must go with what feels right for you. That's if you want a partner. If you don't want a partner, and more power to you. You certainly don't need a partner to be complete and to be successful. You might like to think about how you could show some romance to yourself. Buy yourself some flowers. Buy yourself some nice jewelry. Take yourself somewhere you've always wanted to go. Don't make your life be all about, if I'm single, then I have to be on my own. Well, if you are on your own, then that doesn't mean you're lonely. So what can you do to enhance that beautiful experience you're having in this lifetime of, having a fruitful life and being able to do things on your own terms? So maybe nourishing yourself might be a way to look at it. What have we got? Oh, that was really awkward. The cards just sort of flipped over as I was talking, but we got what we needed. So here is Archangel Gabriel. Again, another card I cannot remember the last time I even saw it. Archangel Gabriel is the messenger associated with communication. So particularly anything around writing, around speaking, around having maybe difficult conversations. Gabriel can help with that. Also around motherhood, not motherhood, that's more Mother Mary. Around conception, if that's something that you are focused on at the moment. And I think also just that helping us step up into our power a bit more. Gabriel is one to call on. if you're interested in creativity as well, that would be where you want to develop your creativity, maybe because you're looking at that singing and dancing going, why don't I actually have any hobbies in my life? I should have some hobbies. You don't have to. I know I use the word should, but you don't have to. But, you know, maybe that is a way that you can bring some joy into your life. And if that's hard for you, maybe Gabriel's the one you call on for guidance to help you with that. For those of you who are feeling part of your life purpose is to share a big message with the world, perhaps you've been through some sort of health challenges and you're feeling compelled to share that with people to help them with their healing. I don't know, blog, video, something like that, writing a book. Gabriel can help you with that, particularly helping you with any issues around how to go about doing that in terms of what the message should be, refining it, how to get the message to the right audience. Michael is the one you would call on for the courage and strength to do that. So if that doesn't resonate, maybe think about enhancing your own communication, because remember, the better we communicate, the better our relationships. So asking Gabriel to help you with any communication blocks. Are you actually being open with people at the moment, or are you swallowing your words? That might be something to think about. So it doesn't take a genius to work out that relationships are coming up strong this week, as well as healing the past, very much interwoven, those two concepts. But I also think there's a bit of a theme around needing to bring ourselves some joy with the singing and dancing, and also perhaps with this romance one for you, yourself, that big relationship there. So stepping into your creativity and developing that as well. I hope that's been helpful for you. Take care. Have an excellent week. I will be back next week. I was going to say that last week we had a new moon in the sign of Cancer. I did speak about this last week, but I would wonder whether some of your goals were maybe around creativity or stepping into your life purpose. If so, these messages are definitely speaking to that. So take care, have a great week, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram to get more guidance around these. At One Grounded Angel is my Insta, and you can reach me for a personal reading or personal energy healing at www.onegroundedangel.com, and just go to the bookings tab to reach me. Thanks very much.